Soulful Conversations with Bitika Anand, exploring the person behind the lawyer. Soulful Conversations with Bitika Anand and Rajesh Narain Gupta, Managing Partner, SNG and Partners.
Hello and welcome to Soulful Conversations with Bitika Anand, an initiative that is really close to my heart and something I've been intending to start for quite some time now. When I started reaching out to my colleagues and friends in the legal fraternity, I was really touched and overwhelmed to see the kind of response I got. Perhaps this is the first time we are dwelling deeper into finding the person behind the lawyer. So while the guests on the show are all eminent legal personalities, we'll talk everything but legal. Now you may be wondering, what are we going to talk about? Why did I choose the theme of conversation to be soulful and not about their professional accolades, awards, wins, and achievements? Because I really truly believe that all of us are much more than any metric or measure can define. So my show is going to aim to understand the core of these achievers, the metal that makes them who they are, and also digging deeper into their persona and try to explore their true selves. This is the platform where you look within and speak from your inner voice about aspects that you have never spoken before or aspects that you have spoken before but not with a soulful perspective. I'm excited to commence this journey of unraveling the authentic self of these stalwarts. And I'm sure the viewers are going to love this unique show that presents the making of these icons. I'm also going to thankful Bar and Bench for being our media partners. And on this soulful note, I'm pleased to welcome Rajesh Narain Gupta, who's going to be with us on this soulful conversation. Welcome, Mr. Rajesh. It's so nice to have you on this show, and thanks a lot for it. It is our privilege and honor to have you with us. Now, just briefly, introducing Mr. Rajesh Narayana Gupta. He is the managing partner of SNG Partners, a full-service law firm established in 1962 by the late S.N. Gupta, an acclaimed banking lawyer, jurist, and writer. His area of specialization includes financial services, commercial laws, real estate, and private client practice. He is an advisor to a number of leading foreign and Indian banks, financial institutions, real estate players, corporate and industrial houses. He is pioneer in the India area of succession and estate planning. He has authored and he's authored and revised several books on banking laws and practices, and his legal research papers are published regularly by leading dailies, law journals, and reputed publications in India and abroad. Rajesh is an independent director on the board of many companies such as HDFC Bank, HDFC Credila Financial Services Limited. He's also on the advisory board of AIMF and CII National Committee on Legal Services to 2022. He was also special invitee by the Indian Banks Association and the Reserve Bank of India in connection with the amendment of the Banking Regulation Act 1949. Rajesh is enlisted amongst the top managing partners and is widely recognized in the field of private wealth law by leading publications such as Chambers and Partners, Legal 500, Forbes, Asia Law, and India Business Law. Before we start the conversation, I have to just share something with the audience. I think I have met many managing partners in my life, and it is amazing. I remember it so clearly when we started our events in Bombay. I had nowhere to go, nowhere to ask, because we were all in Delhi. We were Delhiites. We were always doing events in Delhi. So I didn't know who to go to. But I had known him, of course, for some time. And then I said, let me knock the door at Mr. Rajesh Narain Gupta's office. And I met him. And it was amazing how in just 15 minutes, he saw my agenda And in 15 minutes, he said, okay, for this person, I'm going to write this person to be a speaker. For this topic, I think you should get this as a speaker. And in no time, my entire event was, taken care of. I mean, I have yet to meet not many people, forget about the managing partners, who are so helpful and so nice when you are in need. I think he's the best person to go to. So with that, Mr. Narain, would you like to say something here before we start off our conversation?
Thank you, Ritika. I got excited when you wrote to me about this program you want to host with some of the managing partners or partners. I think it takes quite a bit and a different persona completely to build anything around you, especially when you start relatively like from scratch. So very happy to discuss how and SNG evolved and what we did in the whole journey, and me also, because I am also evolving. Each one of us are evolving in our own ways.
So we're going to start with, if you can share with our audience, any experience that was kind of a turning point in your professional journey, and then maybe some other incident, another experience, which was a turning point in your personal journey.
So Vidya, very quickly, I will say that one turning point as a very young lawyer was when I charged a client. That point of time, I am sure he would also listen to this interview and laugh about it. I charged a client 50,000 rupees for a work which was perhaps for 2,000, 5,000, 35 years ago. And he very happily paid this amount to me because he was in great need of that service. Then very happily and proudly, I went to my uncle, who has been one of my mentors, which I acknowledge my father and my two uncles as my mentors. He was one of them. And I told him very happily and proudly that, look, I've been able to make 50,000 for a work worth 2,000 rupees. And he had just returned from London that point of time. He was with a large government organization. He told me, if you really like me and love me, you go back and return 48,000 rupees to this client. I thought in my heart of heart, my uncle has gone mad. Who will return this 48,000? And money was so dear at that point of time. But when I started driving back my Maruti 800 back to my office, somehow, it came to my head that I trust this guy. I've been asking for his advice. I must not let him down. I went to my client and gave him 40,000 rupees back. The check, I said, I've overcharged you and I'm not feeling happy about it. Can I give you this money back? And this guy said, I knew that you're charging me more, but my need was so much, I could have given you even 5 lakhs. And since I've given you this amount, I'll never take it back. But I was looking for a lawyer like you in Delhi, and I am from Punjab. I wanted a really good lawyer and a good friend on my side. So, I'm your friend and a client forever. He actually didn't take this money from me, which I did not use. I used it in some other way, but I didn't use it for myself. But that was the greatest of learning I had, that the man should go by his integrity. And as a lawyer, I should be looking for money which is due to me for the hours spent by me for the client, and not by what the client is making in the process. So I think that philosophy of SNG remained for such. Over a period of time, I think that my learnings have been in this regard, that perception and experience are very critical for each of the professional like us. So we should do such things which create our right perception. And then thereafter, when the clients or any other person deal with us during our professional journey, their experience should be always the same. Because if the experience is bad, then perception will be damaged. So it's very important for us to be working on our perception and experience all the time. And it's a noble profession at the end of the day. So we should not do something which is questionable in any way whatsoever. We should lead by example. So I believe, this interaction with my uncle and the incident with my client, so that has been a guiding factor in this regard for me for last over maybe 35 years or so.
Yeah. This is very, very true, because when we also tell people that you are, ready to become a partner, and I think partner is a designation or whatever it is, but I think what is very important to is become a trusted advisor of your client, and then he's like, trusting you on everything, every aspect of life, not even sometimes legal, when you have that kind of a relationship. Yeah. So that's really true. So what is it that motivates in your life? What is it that kind of, professionally also and personally, again, like it's not really professionally, maybe law motivates you. I don't know about that, but professionally also and personally also, what motivates you? Actually, I would rephrase it to say, what motivates you personally in life?
So, what motivates me is always growth. And this growth is not limited to a professional growth or a commercial growth or a money growth. The growth in all forms, that how do you get a more better and more sophisticated in your day-to-day living, in your thinking process, basically, not only for yourself, but for your family, your colleagues, your friends, the society or the nation or the world at large. I'm not trying to get philosophical here, but I very, very truly believe that do as many good things as you can. Because, only goodness is one factor, the kindness is only one factor, happiness is only one factor, perhaps, in their own individual bracket, which can overall make our ecosystem better. Because if you are alone happy, it won't serve any purpose. So when you are trying to be really happy, then you want your friends to be happy, your relatives to be happy, your family to be happy. So I think what really motivates is that how do I become source of happiness for people around me so that I am also happy. And then, of course, there's a selfish interest completely with a vested interest. I want to be happy. So I have to make sure that people around me are happy and not cribbing. So that is what I try to do. And that I do very selflessly. I don't want to know what is there for me if I have to make anybody happy. If I can make anybody happy, it's fine because I got vested interest. But I'm not, saying that what is there for me. I never ask this question to anybody. And then I've got, I've got my interest in my tennis, in my gym exercising, in my music, in my reading. I like to sing my Bollywood songs with my Guruji. So all these things make me happy, and I just want to be surrounded with good people, enjoying my life. We have worked hard, we have slogged all our life, and now there's a time when we can really that what do you call that maximizing everything. You can wait lifelong, and still you may say you're not maximized. So I think you have to take somewhere some halt and just decide what the reason for your being there is and what makes you happy.
Right, absolutely right. In fact, we're going to talk more about few things you enjoy, your music, your tennis classes. We're going to talk more about it later on. And it is, so other than obviously what motivates you is the growth, and it's not the growth about your personal self or your family, it's the growth of society, world, people, and it gives you, and I think it is very touching to say that you want to make other people happy, and because of they are happy, then you are happy. It's very touching. And so is there any one person who has influenced a lot in your life, any which way, any one person or two people in your life who have been like a major influence in the way you are today or generally otherwise?
I'm not that way, there are many people who have influenced my life, and I've taken away lots of things from them in day-to-day interaction and learnings. As I said, we all keep on growing because only experiences, that is the only factor which makes you grow in various ways. But I think certainly, like for everybody, parents are one who are always left some kind of influence on you. My father was, though a lawyer, but not a commercial lawyer. He wanted to teach. So the way, in his illness, he wrote books and he used to interact people. And to every client, he used to say that, look, all of us are in a boat in this world, and we all have to survive somehow. So we are there to support you as a doctor. I'm not a lawyer, I'm a doctor. And then he was an economist also. He used to say that never stop spending, don't save money. Money is required to be spent. Somebody's spending is somebody's income. So I think father and my uncle, Dr. N.P. Agarwal, who was part of Engineers India Limited for a long period, and after London he settled in India. Thereafter he went to US. He was a man of high integrity, very clear principles. He motivated me. My mom, of course, again a person of very high integrity. She influenced me in many, many ways. And then you have all people around you. First of all, like your wife, your children, your siblings, and then some of my partners who are working with me. So I think it has been a long journey of learnings from everywhere, where you met. And Vidika, you also taught me so many things, which we try to implement at our firm level because of your experience. So for which I'm grateful. Yeah.
So basically, you are saying like it's not that one or two people, like your whole life, somebody or the other keeps influencing you in different ways for your own evolution and for your own growth.
I think so, from time to time, like, because as we say, as when we're a child, we say our father is the best. As you grow out, you say your father is best and good, but there are other people also who make the life, a changing event for you. It could be your professors, teachers, people you deal with. I mean, every day you are meeting new people and taking away something from them.
Correct. And I think it's only wise people who do that, because most people don't believe in taking advice from others. So most of them do that, but people who are wise definitely take advice or learn much more from the others' experiences. So if you were not a lawyer, what would you have liked to be?
I started my career as a journalist. All my life I wanted to be a journalist as a student. So therefore, my passion for writing or meeting these journalists, following this kind of
that now.
Yeah. So that continues even today. I very proudly carry my Press Club of India card even today. So yes, I think probably I would have been a journalist or a investigator on criminal sites. That motivated me highly, which I couldn't follow because of other compulsive reasons, and I landed up doing what I do today.
And I'm sure this also must have, kind of value added to what you're doing today, that you wanted to be a journalist.
Yeah, so my initial stint with Hindustan Times and a paper called Observer, which later got closed. So I was their freelancer and I worked very closely with them for 2 years. So I think that was a great learning those days. And my family used to publish a legal paper called Commercial Law Gazette. It was a weekly paper. And then I used to handle the press. Press means the actual printing press, the manual press those days. So that was, one of the greatest learnings ever, because, to speak to many people, to similarly carry the interviews with who is who, to meet the dean of the universities, to put their articles in place. And I was myself a student of English honors that point of time. So I was also a student, and at early age I got this break. So I think that perspective was very, very different.
So it will be nice if you can share with us what you have not shared anywhere in any forums, which people will remember you by, that other than being a fantastic lawyer, what you are as a person. Do you think you can share something with us which you have not shared anywhere, and which people will remember you by, not just as a fantastic lawyer? That I think you have already established. It's already everybody knows about it. So.
Well, it's a that very difficult question to answer, but I think a little differently. What I've done is, I can just share my life experiences, that I've made very grave mistakes in my life. I've done blunders in my life, because when you're growing up, you meet people. At times, you try to sort of replicate, imitate what they have done, or at times you just carried away. And on personal relationships, on official relationships, on communication, you do blunders, and you do actually work mistakes also.
Right.
So my first, if you see my DP ever, you will find that I've put a line there that please judge others as you would like to be judged yourself. So one philosophy which I adopted was that I don't want to judge anybody. I don't want to be judgmental, because people at times do mistake. So once they do mistake and they commit, they accept it and move on. Let's move on. Let's have a second life, or a third life or a fourth life. So let's not, condemn people for what little mistake they did. I'm not saying that I cheated on anybody or that I did something grave, but yes, professionally, I think the ability to stand up, say, I've done a mistake and now how to rectify. So that I've done with lots of my friends, with my clients, with my family. I owe up. I just tell all my people, you heard our last conversation in our offsite. I told all the entire team of 200 people that you please work and do mistakes as many as you want to do. Only must come back to me and tell me that you have done a mistake. I will adopt and accept all those mistakes. And I'll go to that, because I think that if there is a direct communication with anybody in your life on personal or commercial or professional basis, a direct communication, I don't want to send SMS. I don't want to put a note on WhatsApp. I don't want to write an email. I think all of us should have the ability to pick up the phone or walk out personally and inform the other side what the problem is, or what the wrong is, or what the mistake is. The communication to me is very, very critical. So what I've done differently in last many, many years is I've been able to communicate. I just want to communicate my thoughts, and don't want to hide behind emails or WhatsApp or email messages just to buy time. And number two is learning from my mistakes. I just said that is I'm very actually proud of, and I have no shame in admitting if those mistakes ever crop up, that why those happened. Yes, those happened, and there are reasons why those happened. So one is this. Secondly, when you deal with people and you want to be leader, then your heart should be big enough, large enough to first give and provide for others. All your team members, irrespective, how much you are saving is immaterial. You have to take your team together. So unless you are thinking for all your team members, the way you will think to do to yourself, whatever, unless the same spirit goes back to right up to the peon. And thirdly, the dignity of labor. If my peon walks in my cabin, even today, I have called him. I will, of course, not ask him to sit with me and talk to me. But if any peon even knocks at my cabin and says he wants to talk to me, he must first sit on the chair next to me and then talk to me as a person to person. But I will never teach, sort of in that situation, treat him as to be a PM. So I think the few things which came to me for whatever reasons, by learnings and seeing others, maybe, or the good practices I followed. So I think to be compassionate, passionate about what you do, to narrate to other people's mindset, like a doctor will do for a disease, and to be psychologically with them and actually then do something like, don't create a lip sympathy, try to do something. And all this is with great personal vested interest. I'm not saying that in the whole process I have not gained personally or professionally. All that happens, that's like playing cricket. You play a single shot, but still make one run. You don't want to be out. And then you want to be also held as a good player. So how do you become the good player in this whole journey? That has been the whole emphasis I've been doing, last many years. In spite of mistakes, I think people just condone mistakes. If you accept them, there is no problem. But if you want to defend them or be full of ego, then people have got problems.
Yes.
So I think that is how I have tried to address these situations.
No, I think what you have said is really goes in a long way for a lot of leaders to practice what you're saying. And I've seen you work in your own organization, in your own firm, how your empathy towards your people and some of the policies, procedures, which normally are pretty prevalent in other law firms, are very differently tackled. And what you have actually, a lot of people kind of do their conversations or communication in a very bizarre way. Like, they want to say something, they can't say it openly. And when you can't say it openly, it doesn't lead to anywhere, that conversation, whether it's a conversation on a grievance, whether it is a general conversation, And so I think you picked up 2-3 very, very interesting areas, on to condone the mistakes. No heavens are going to fall if there is a mistake, fine. And I think the most interesting thing is if the person themselves have realized that they have made a mistake and they are concerned about it, that's a learning in itself for that person. I don't think one needs to keep on saying you made this mistake. And the communication, the next thing that you talked about was communication, which I think in law firms today, we sometimes lack that communication. Communication, not communication which is one-sided, which is two-way communication, which is transparent, honest conversations and communications. And I think you really practice this in your firm, which I am aware of also myself. So that was very, very nice to hear from you, Rajesh. And anything you want to share again with the lawyers, which can inspire them, or any inspirational kind of message, or anything you want to share with them?
See, I just want to again maybe repeat myself that always be high on integrity, dream, keep on dreaming. So once you dream, then just follow your dream with a plan, with an execution plan, and passionately follow that plan. Don't worry whether you will succeed or not succeed. It doesn't really matter, because you have to first start doing what you feel is right, and then just put a plan in place, and then keep on introspecting also, which I regularly do every month, every 2 months. And just close yourself in a room and see whether you have been doing things right or wrong, and then keep on changing. You see, if you are stagnant with your thought plan or with your processes or anything, then one day you will be obsolete. Kodak never thought that they will be out of business in 1 year when first issue was raised before the board, that the iPhones have come and the phones have come and people will start using phones instead of a reel. But they said it can never happen, being the biggest company worldwide. But that did really happen. Then the COVID has taught us that so many changes are happening. Nobody thought the digital thing would be accelerated to the level it has been accelerated today. Maybe we have preponed the whole digital process by about a decade.
Right.
So I think the change is something that one should be conscious of and keep on changing and evolving. If you are stuck with something else with your thought process, then suddenly, there's going to be big loss to not only yourself, but everybody around you. So I'm not saying change for bad, change for good. And keep on experimenting. Experimenting and change should not be stopped under any circumstances. What, I think, but with the few things I did right was to buy the fax machine. The first
Uh-huh.
time it was launched. You had money or no money was something very different. We didn't have that kind of money at that point of time. But when the computer came, I bought computers, and the IT system got a different level. We changed the IT system a different level. And then professional is perception also. If you go to a hospital and you find a doctor in jeans and a t-shirt, probably you will not accept him as a doctor. But if he's
Right.
wearing a white coat and a tie, or if not a tie, a stethoscope, then you will find or treat him, perceive him as a doctor. So, these small things I keep on telling everybody, that behave like a lawyer, appear like a lawyer, and you have to do few things around you which people take you seriously and actually consider you as a lawyer. So,
Right.
so from soft skills to dress sense to how you treat people, how do you treat client, everything becomes these small things become important, and draw inspirations. There are so many successful stories around us. We are, each one of us, just a small pebble in the scheme of universe. We are nothing, but we have so many great stalwarts in India alone. If you talk of so many current and previous senior lawyers, just draw
Right.
inspiration, just see what they did right, what they did wrong, and at least do something which they did right. There's so much of learning around you. You just have to open your eyes and see that who are those stalwarts whom you could at least look at for some kind of inspiration in your life.
Yeah. So if we, that was actually one of the purposes of these conversations, is I think if we collate all the learnings of people, I'm not only talking of us very all the time successful lawyers, but a lot of lawyers, and if we combine them, it'll become a very interesting book to read, and a lot of wisdom for the young lawyers to have, from those learnings, because of the experiences of so many lawyers out there, and the way they have emerged in their practices, etc. So you have also now been working with different generation of lawyers in your firm, like when you started your firm long back. Is how do you find the young lawyers? How do you find the young lawyers, and anything you would like to tell them? The young lawyers, I mean the young generation, the new generation of lawyers.
The young, that my daughter also joined profession about a year ago.
Right.
So young lawyers are far more brighter, informed than what we are today. They've been exposed to much more than we were ever exposed.
Right.
In fact, 35, 40 years ago, even the legal profession was treated as a professional dropouts. If you don't have anything else to do, become a lawyer. That was the kind of
Yeah.
message which used to float around. But today, these people are very informed. They are very career oriented. The generation, from millennial to Zen to whatever, they have different orientation completely. They are very different to thinking process as we have, and I think that they really want to excel in what they do. And excellence is something which I always strive upon. If they are trying to do something good, excellent, it's very good. But the problem or the issue which I face with this current young generation is that they want to taste water and all the wells, which is becoming a problem to me. And I don't know why they want to do it. There is no stickiness. If they want to become a good civil lawyer or a criminal lawyer or a tax lawyer, and if they've got a firm of their choice where they're working, why they need to just leave the firm in 2 months, 3 months, 4 months? Why do they want to go to hundreds of the firm before they make up their mind? So I think they may just reconsider their position to find more stickiness with the law firm they work with. Because in the process, everybody is in a different mood and reaction. Because we are not very sure whether these youngsters who are joining us, say first year, second year, third year, they really wish to be with us, or they've just come to hunt and they'll be there for
Yeah.
2 months.
Find out.
So, barring that issue, I think the training part, the learning part, personality part, they're far better and more informed than what we were, and very happy for them. And the second problem I feel is that our universities, colleges are producing, I don't know, maybe 100,000 lawyer every year. So that much absorption is not there in the industry, because today lawyers are being absorbed by the private and public sector bodies also. In spite of that, so much absorption is not there. And when the lawyers come and request for interns, for example, I remember last month I told a person known to me that we don't have even a single place to make an interns sit, because we had over 9 interns that particular month. And
Right.
then out of just joke, I told him I have only place offer left is the reception. And this person turns around and say, okay, put him at the reception only. And I know that there is a desperation. I also know we have gone through all this phase ourselves, so we know that even to get an internship at times becomes a challenge. But how much to pressurize, how much to go for, I don't blame these students because they don't have accesses. Now, how do our industry leaders find a solution to this problem? So I have no ready answer, but I think it's a big problem. So many lawyers are coming in. How and where to accommodate them, train them? I think for youngsters, it's a very serious challenge.
Yeah. Yeah, and also I find my experience is, of course, similar to yours, but also I find that they are more looking for a cultural and environmental adjustment in the firm they are, because I think more than wanting to get into a particular kind of practice area, whether it is litigation, corporate or XYZ, whatever it is, they may be still struggling to find that out in the first 2-3 years. But I think for this generation, one is that they have so much exposure to so many things in life. So it's not about if they are doing law in a law firm, that's the only thing in life they want to do. They want to go hitchhiking, they want to learn music, they want to do, so there are so many things they have ready available for them to kind of experience it, which they don't want to let go that easily. They don't want to sacrifice one for the other. So probably that is the reason you said that, one is, you said, of course, different firms, but it also different areas in life. They want to kind of experience more in that life. That I think our generation was content with whatever we were doing, and we were just happy doing that all the time. They are not that content, and I think for them, it is, and I think I think law firms should understand, for this new generation, their culture, how you behave with them, how their environment is in the firm is extremely important. Because see, they have already their parents have made enough money, they have all the comforts of life, they have so they have it all. So they're not going to like kind of compromise on how you behave with them and all. And they take very fast decisions. If they're not comfortable in a firm for XYZ, they want to move out. This is just one of my observations with these young lawyers.
No, it's a great learning, because we always struggle to find right answers to all this. But yeah, what you're saying, it makes a lot of sense, and maybe we have to change then. All of us, the partner should change.
Yes.
This is what
Yes,
is going to
I think,
happen.
yeah, I think you can turn them around in a more like, rather that rule of, thrashing them or kind of telling them loudly what to. I think that age and stage of these young lawyers, they will not take it. So that is one thing I have observed. Of course, there are many things what you also said were absolutely true. Now we are going to come back to maybe the real essence of this soulful conversation is, what in your mind, or what do you think is spirituality in life? Is there something like spirituality in life?
See, everybody has got this is such a vast and difficult subject, and actually, I don't even know what spirituality is. But for me, the spirituality only is doing your things right, and at least around your ecosystem, create a situation. I just said that people are comfortable and happy. So doing good and not foolish things. I mean, good may have different connotation, but doing good is that at least doing good to people around you, and not to do anything only with self-interest, and be on right karmas. That is a spirituality, because we are all the time working, so we are not. And then I think I am a spiritual person, believe in God, but I am not a ritualistic person. So I differentiate spirituality to rituals, for example. So yeah, my family members do a lot of rituals and all that. I don't believe much in rituals, but I would only link it to your actions and good karmas. So if you're in that, probably, in my opinion, you are still a spiritual person, whether or not you meditate or pray.
Right. Correct. Absolutely right. A lot of people have similar views on spirituality. So do you think, we all the time, of course, we're not talking of being religious here, like you said, and I think many don't believe in that, and they believe in good karmas and all. Do you think there are any powers, like when we say there is God, so what is God? Like, is he a more kind of a perfect human being? Are there powers beyond us there in the universe? Do you think something like this exists? Just pure, it's your pure personal
I think, yeah, I personally think that there is some kind of energy which is definitely there. And when we talk to that energy in whatever form, either we meditate or we pray, because when you pray, we are talking to them. When we are meditating, then they are talking to us. That is how I perceive. But I do believe that there are certain powers which are beyond us, which very difficult to comprehend what it is. But if you ask me directly, do you believe in God? Now, whatever this God is, it is energy or whatever source of energy is. I truly believe there is something beyond us, and far bigger. We are not able to penetrate and see what it is. But yeah, to answer your question, I do believe that there is something over and above us.
Okay, now on a lighter note, so any anecdote, in the past or present where you can share with us, which is on the comical side, which still today when you think about it, you laugh or smile. Any such experience you can share with us?
Two very quick stories, which I try to be as brief as possible. That one, as a young lawyer, I was then in the second year of law. I got a very complicated matter from an international bank, where warrants were issued to arrest the officers, including two foreign officers who were there posted with this bank. We engaged Mr. Pranath Lekhi at that point of time to get the anticipatory bail on a Friday or Saturday. And Justice Mahajan was a judge whose residence we knocked for this anticipatory bail. Mr. Lekhi was able to push, make out a case and take these anticipatory bail orders. And then I was invited by these bankers to meet them at Delhi ITC to celebrate over a drink. I was carrying all these papers in December with my clerk, Rana, and Rana wanted to smoke. I asked him to open the window and then smoke. And suddenly a beggar or whoever was standing at that red light, the crossing, he just put his hand inside and took away anything but Rana was holding on his lap. The orders passed by the court were taken away, and this person ran with those orders. And, we parked the car inside. It was raining, and both of us started madly running after them. But they just vanished, and we came back. Now there are officers hosting a party for us. That their anticipatory bail order, and this incident happened. Now the officers truly thought that these people were nothing but the people on the other side who actually were following us, and they took away these papers. It was not the case. It was just a freak incident. But we are such a big embarrassment, I can't begin to tell you. So therefore, when a project comes in the firm, I tell everybody that keep your windows, never open your windows, doing important documents. Anything can happen. Anything can go wrong. 80-20 rule. So
yeah, what a funny or what a never heard of incident.
No, but you see, more than that, Mr. P.N. Lekhi thought that I had compromised my position. I was with the other side. I did this.
You got on the other side.
And as Mr. Lekhi was very difficult to explain him, he said it is not the case. And then I requested him to reappear on Monday and take the copies of those orders again, etc. We again got the orders on Monday, but this was a horrible night I spent between Sunday, Monday to put all things in place. And a very great learning as a project person, that project can go bad at any stage. Therefore, the great learning. Secondly, again, as a young lawyer, this Maruti 800 I just mentioned, I used to have. So I just went home with my Maruti 800 thinking it's my Maruti 800. And somehow the key worked. And actually it was not mine. We had gone somewhere and there were two cars standing. And I don't know how, but this car worked in a similar looking car. And I took a wrong car to my home. Then the next day, I realized in the morning it was not my car. I came back. And the whole lane there, in Old Delhi, there was a lot of noise created. Oh, car has come back, car has come back. It was their car actually. They got very happy the car has come back. And those days, it was difficult to own a car for middle class families. And they actually by then had gone to police station and lodged a criminal complaint of theft of car. And the FIR was already registered by the time this could be discovered and done with. So in great confidence, as a young lawyer, I went to the police station. The SHO told me, yeah, come and sit down here. Now you are arrested for theft of this car. And, you're nowhere to look at what to do now. I told the inspector, no problem, you arrest me. But can you arrest me after 2 p.m. because I've got so many cases in Tisasari court I have to finish. I'll come back, then you arrest me. Then somehow he said, look, I know your dad and your family. I'm just giving you this opportunity so that you can go and finish your work. But please come, we will get you a bail at 2 p.m. But you have to come back. I rushed to Rajiv Khosla, whom I knew as a young lawyer, as our leader in Tisasari those days. And I told this problem to Rajiv and he said, okay, are you mad? How did this happen and this, that? Then we went to the district judge, Mr. Jain, PK Jain. Mr. Jain said he knows my father. He doesn't want to listen to this bail application. Then we were referred to Mr. SM Agarwal. the sessions judge, who was then a dreaded judge because he had passed all those judgments, which are very difficult judgments against people those days who were not treating their daughter-in-laws well and all that. He had arrested, put them behind bars. He was a very dreaded judge. Then he heard my plight and he was kind enough to grant me anticipatory bail. And then with the anticipatory bail, after I went back to the police, told them I got an anticipatory bail. So this incident always, like, it never goes out of my mind. I always remember this.
I know.
It's
also scary, very funny.
Yeah, so it was a stupid negligence. Therefore, I told you that my biggest teacher have been my own mistakes. So you try to do things not in hurry. If you do these stupid things in hurry, then you are again somewhere doing something wrong.
Right. Correct. I also many times sat in a wrong car and after some time realized I'm not in a car, in my own car. When I saw the face of the driver, I used to do this a lot when I was a young person working in Delhi. Oh my God, maybe my mind used to be somewhere else. So anyway, thanks a lot, Rajesh ji, for being with us. And anything last parting thoughts you want to share with us? Anything?
I would say that each one of us should have some hobbies. That hobby could be anything other than your professional hobby. You play, you sing, you read, you do something which makes you happy. And life is not there all the time, 24 hours to work. We are not born to slog 18 hours in a law firm doing only paperwork and the laptop. I don't know why we do that. We should think something. All managing partners should think about this. That gives some relaxation time also to anybody who work around you. And please don't pass stress to your juniors during the weekend, if possible, because we are there.
Yeah, this was amazing when you told, and I heard you say, don't work on weekends and things like that. I said, my God, amazing. Yeah, you're so true. I think life is much more. And even I personally feel I have given a lot to my work. I think I've gone overboard. And now suddenly I feel I wish, I had done. And now when I want to do those things, sometimes maybe my health is not allowing it, or it is too late now in life. So I think it's a very good.
It is never late, first of all. And Vitika, you raised a very important point on health. Sorry, I didn't mention that. All of us should be conscious that clients will come back, money will come back, work will come back. Lost health will never come back. So all of us who are just slogging 18 hours, 20 hours a day, and not taking care even of our back, the way we sit, the way we go around, I think health is also very, very critical.
Yes.
Please, none of us should ignore our health, because if you compromise on your health, then even you can't work, you won't enjoy anything whatsoever around.
Absolutely right. And now I also suddenly believe, I always say, no, work, like, you should enjoy your work, because I love my work. But now I feel that if you miss those moments in your life, even if you are young, you tell them to, but there are certain things you should do when you are young only. You don't have to wait ki haan main baad mein karunga, like after
don't postpone
that in life, which is like really a learning for me, Yes. I didn't do it at that time thinking, there's enough time to do it. So anyway, thanks a lot. It was absolutely a pleasure to have you, and it was a wonderful conversation with you. And see you soon.
Thank you, Vitika.
Okay, bye-bye.